session yesterday at 4 p.m. One of the reasons I gave for saying that the Rosen College is so special is because we're a very, very, very strong community. And we have a community of entertainment and event professionals this evening that hopefully you're going to learn a lot from. So let's get going. I'm going to ask all of you, and I'm going to start with Mr. Ray Eddy, purely because you're on the right-hand side of my screen, Ray. Can you introduce yourself, just explain what you do at the Rosen College, and most importantly, tell everybody something quite unique or special about you that we don't know, or the students don't know, just so they can remember you. Thank you, Ray.
Sure. I think I know what I'll say already, and so do my friends. My name is Ray Eddy. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for coming out tonight. I teach in the Entertainment Management Department. This program has been around for about 4 years, and that's how long I've been here too. So I came in with a program, and it's an exciting program to teach. My background, I started off in entertainment after a few other careers, and the first few years of that was working at Disney World, and I played Indiana Jones in the Indiana Jones stunt show. That's my unusual thing about me. Did that for about 8 or 9 years, and then other things at Disney, went to stage management, stunt management. Left that. I've done some film production, a lot of acting and things outside of that. Lots of other areas of entertainment I've been involved in, and now I get to teach all about it to you guys. So I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Lovely. Thank you, Ray. And I've just realized I really should have asked you last because you're always such a hard act to follow. Dr. Jeannie Harm. Jeannie, evening. Can you introduce yourself and say something distinct so the students can remember you?
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. My name is Jeannie Ham, and I am an assistant professor here at the Rosen College. I started teaching back in 2005, back then when I was a PhD student. And as an assistant professor, I started in 2015 here. I teach a variety of event management related courses, like the intro to events, are the event industry, exhibition and trade show operations, and I will be teaching the new course, Research in Sport Tourism. I also teach a graduate course, which is Convention and Conference Sales and Services. Something interesting about myself, I guess. When I was in college, I backpack traveled around Europe for a couple of weeks with my friend. Well, there was a big group, but mostly I did it with my friend. Huge backpack on my back, smaller one in my front. And we slept on the trains and traveled around Europe. So that was a fun experience. So I encourage students when they're in college to get that experience and see the world. Yeah, great to be here.
Lovely. Thank you, Jeannie. And Jessica, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Alan. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rosen College. My name is Jessica Richards. I'm one of the faculty members on our event management program. So I teach a variety of courses within that. So for some of you on the event side or even the entertainment management program, you may see me in some of our event courses that are part of your program. I have a lot of interesting things about me, but I'm probably the only one on the faculty who's been in a movie with Melissa McCarthy. So top that one, Ray.
Oh.
I do, much like Ray and Sean, though, I do have a background in theme parks. So I was with Universal for a very long time on the marketing and sales side and event management side, handling a wide variety of different types of events, from some of the marquee ones that you may know, like Halloween Horror Nights and Mardi Gras, to a lot of our youth events, our meetings and corporate events, all of our grand openings. And then other fun facts, certainly with all the synergy projects that we did, having the Ellen DeGeneres program filmed from our location, and Jimmy Fallon. I've had a lot of really cool moments, certainly in my career. So another fun fact, I've also ridden the Hulk roller coaster with the Jonas Brothers and Jennifer Lopez.
I'm really, really depressed now. You've done so much.
Got to get out there, Alan.
Wonderful. Lovely. Thank you, Jessica. Excellent. And I think that does actually beat Ray tonight. So that's well done. Jessica's winning. Dr. Sean Bliznick. Hi, Sean. Can you introduce yourself and off you go.
Welcome. Hi, everyone. Great to meet you all virtually. So I am Sean Bliznick. I teach in the entertainment management program as well. I'll start with kind of my fun fact. I think I was always driven and destined for this line of business. My very first job when I was 15 and a half, when you could get a job at 15 and a half, I worked for what we call Chuck E. Cheese, and other parts of the country were called Showbiz Pizza, and had the opportunity to be a birthday party host and made the occasional character appearance. So little did I know that initial working for one mouse would bring me to Central Florida to spend almost 20 years working for a different mouse. So I have been crossed back and forth in my career of teaching and then working in live entertainment, initially for Disney as an event stage manager, which I knew nothing about since my background is in theater, and then suddenly had to worry about where food was going and where to put the violinist and why aren't the chairs set, and all sorts of things that were new to me, and went from event stage managing to stage managing in the theme parks, sharing the Hollywood studios with Ray as well. And then I left land and went to Disney Cruise Line and was a stage manager on the ships and then assistant cruise director for about 4 years before returning back to land and then joining the faculty here at Rosen right after the entertainment management program began. So I'm excited for you all to join us and look forward to seeing you either virtually or real in class soon.
And your quirky fact is, Sean?
That I had to dress up like a mouse at some point.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, it was never really Chuck E. Cheese. It was actually Mr. Munch, which is like this giant purple sock. Not
lovely. Follow that, Samantha. Can I introduce Samantha Fox, one of our excellent advising team. Samantha.
Oh my goodness, I have to follow up with that. Okay. My name is Samantha Fox. I'm an academic advisor here at Rosen. I've been here for about 2.5 years, about 1.5 years in advising. The only interesting fact I can think of about myself, just in case there's anyone else out there, I am from New Jersey. If anyone else is out there from New Jersey, I'm very New Jersey proud here.
Lovely. Thank you. So we go from New Jersey to Iowa. Dr. Jill. Hi.
Hello, everybody. This is a tough group.
Yeah.
I don't know to follow this. Yes, I am the only one from Iowa on this panel so far. So if we have fellow Iowans out there, let me know. Anyway, welcome. Looking forward to the evening. Let's see. Where do I begin? I've jumped out of 2 airplanes, landed softly, so that was good. Talking about purple, our family has had season tickets to the Minnesota Vikings for 34 years. Yay. They do play on Monday Night Football next Monday. If any of you are looking for something to do, they play the Chicago Bears. So anyway, with that lead in, I do teach in the sporting event certificate and also the professional tennis management certificate. So I run both programs. If you are at all interested in sporting events, whether you want to focus solely on tennis, we have a tremendous partnership with the USTA, who has their national campus in Lake Nona. Or if you want to focus just on the, in general, on managing sporting events, please contact me. We have grouped it with the entertainment management and the event management degrees. So it's a wonderful certificate. And if you want to learn more, I'm here to help and guide you. And there's tremendous opportunity. And with everything going on with sports right now with COVID, it's a tremendous opportunity to really understand how you overcome challenges. And we're seeing it firsthand, what's happening in the NFL, the successful bubble of the NBA that was here in Orlando. We are going to be hosting the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games in Orlando, yay. So there's a lot of exciting things. And so all I can say is go Vikings.
Lovely. Thanks, Jill. And
Yeah.
last but no means least, we have Corey, one of our outstanding students. Corey.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Corey Clancy, and I'm a senior studying entertainment management from Charleston, South Carolina. And a little bit about how I got to UCF. So first, I searched colleges around Disney, found UCF. But how did I get to Rosen? I was interested in hospitality a little bit, and I took a class with Professor Richards, actually, which solidified the fact that I definitely wanted to stay, or that I wanted to change my major to a Rosen major. And after talking with Professor Edie and Dr. Bliznick, we solidified entertainment management was the course for me. And I mean, I'm on this panel, so I have to talk good about entertainment management, but also I like, even if I weren't here, I would be talking over and over about how much I love the program. So it is a fantastic program. I've learned so much about theme parks through it and through entertainment in general. I've worked at Disney for about 2 years. I was a food and beverage attendant at the Boardwalk Resort. And my fun fact is, one time I dropped a person 50 feet in a belaying accident because I was belaying them rock climbing. But they were okay. Everything was fine. I lost my belay license though. So there you go.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you everybody. I've learned some new tips this evening as well, so really, really good. Okay, students, you've got the chat function there. Please fire questions. Last night we had many questions, and earlier this afternoon it was phenomenal. So there's no pressure, but please feel free to ask the questions you wish. I'm going to start. I'm going to start with Ray. Ray, entertainment management. That sounds a very new degree. Why study entertainment management, and why study it at the Rosen College?
Sure. Okay. Well, I've had this conversation with my students recently. In fact, I think it's easy to sort of imagine that entertainment is a side career. You know, it's not like a real job, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Entertainment is a crucial aspect, really, of who we are, of our humanity. We need something to bring us together as people, as a society. And the reason it came up in my classes recently, like my introductory class that I teach, is because, especially in times like this, where we all stuck at home and you can't go out and maybe go to a concert or go to a football game with Jill, you know, that these amazing things that we want to do for entertainment, go to a theme park, you can, but maybe you don't feel comfortable with that. And it's really incumbent upon us as the entertainment management entertainment producers in the world, to keep on creating content to help people get through times like this, when you need something just to get through that's rough in whatever capacity that is. It could be a pandemic lockdown or not, but entertainment is a vital aspect of humanity, and it's something that we need just to help us just exist. So that alone, I've never felt there's never been a negative feeling about working in this industry and about working this career, about doing it myself for so long and now teaching about it. It's a thriving, growing industry. It's a very lucrative industry. Obviously, things are weird in a pandemic. You can't say that everything's perfect because it's not for anything. I'm not going to gloss over that. It's not perfect for anybody right now, but it hasn't gone away, and it's only going to come back stronger than ever once we get past this, which, you know, cross your fingers, is sooner than later. So it's a vital, growing, lucrative industry with creativity, and every day can be different than the last. So if you're looking for something that's going to be chaotic and fun and challenging in different ways all the time, it's a very interesting, thriving industry to get into it. And Corey could talk about that as well. As I mentioned in the interim there, he was an assistant stage manager with me on a project I worked on with Jessica over there, and things went wrong that night, and we had to go on the fly and figure them out. I mean, nothing ever goes perfectly, which makes it fun. If you like that, we call that embracing the chaos. It's just a very vibrant, vital field. And then coming here to study that at Rosen College, I think what we bring to that industry is, first of all, it's a cutting edge degree. We're really on the forefront of what this degree is all about. We have people on our faculty who have vast experience in different areas of entertainment. So we can talk about not just, you know, here's what it says in the book, but here's what happened when I did this, or here's what I saw happen when I was out there one time, or friends of mine have seen this. And we have other resources we pull in, whether it's the legal side of it, or the event side of it, or the production side of it, or the human resources side of it. You can learn all those different aspects. Whatever piece of it is, you know, that you're drawn to, you can follow that path. And it could be in music, or festivals, or theme parks, or sports, or film and television, or theater, or gaming. I mean, you name it. These are all different fields of entertainment industry that we can pursue. So I was trying to ramble along now. We get some questions in the chat, and we haven't gotten any yet, but I guess I'll let it go there so I don't talk all night long. But I hope I answered your question, Alan.
Excellent. So I'm going to bounce to Sean. Sean, these students, they may be super excited about entertainment management. They're buzzing, but their parents are probably saying, oh, shouldn't you do a mainstream degree? How would you respond to the parents about the power of entertainment management?
Well, here's the real secret sauce about entertainment and event management, and that is it is multidisciplinary, right? So by nature, it is developing a holistic set of skills for you as an individual, and then you attach that to a degree. So you got a college degree, yay, you did it in something you loved, and you know not only more about yourself through these various skill sets, but you also understand more about how you function in a larger world. And as I think about degrees or what my own degree paths were, many degrees can be very siloed and sort of laser focused, that when you leave, you get the tip of the iceberg covered, but the rest of this you're going to have to figure out on the job or over the course of a career. What we've done is to sort of have flipped the iceberg, right? So you're getting a wide swath so that then you can specialize and be like, I never thought, to my introduction, I never thought that I would work on a cruise ship. I didn't think that that would be part of my entertainment path, but it was something that was presented to me, and it was probably the highlight of my entertainment operational career. But so you will be, this is your pitch to your parents, everybody. Look, I will be a better human being. I will be more well-rounded, and I will know more if I do this degree as opposed to, I don't know, quantitative economics. All right. We need that too, but you know what I mean.
Excellent. And I'm going to just bounce to Corey, and then we're actually getting some questions coming in, which is good. But Corey, you've heard from Ray and Sean. How would you describe the entertainment experience at Rosen?
Ooh, that is a good question. So there's so many words, so many good words I would use to describe it. But essentially, I would say it is a cluster of creativity with a focused outlook, I guess. Everyone, what I love so much about the majors, everyone's different, everyone's creative, everyone's very accepting, loving, fantastic. So that's in terms of the people. But what we do in the classes is really exciting. I mean, we have gotten to design theme parks, we've gotten to design music festivals before. And I think what's so different in general about this management degree from entertainment in general is that we learn so much about leadership as well. One of my favorite classes that I've ever taken was with Dr. Bliznick, and it was entertainment leadership. And we really learned about the things that we value as a leader and how to implement those values into entertainment leadership. So this kind of answers a little bit of a question in the chat as well, which was about production management in theater versus management in general. And we're really learning how to manage the entertainment experience from a people perspective, as well as a business, but really managing the operations and the people. Does that help? Does that make sense?
Yeah, excellent. And I'm just going to refer back to Ray, because one of the questions from Abby is, how is entertainment management different from production management? So you've sort of done both. How would you describe that?
Sure, and it looks like Sean put something in the chat there about that as well, and that's very true. Production management, as Dr. Bliznick mentioned, there is specific to the show going on, and in this example, in a theater, and that could be a show in a theme park or a show on a cruise ship. So the production of an actual entertainment experience is very focused. Entertainment management, there's much more that goes into it than only the actors, the singers, the dancers, the performers. There's a bigger house to fill, as Sean phrased it. You have to worry about everything else involved with that, which is, your budgeting for your whole thing, and who's going to, pay for everything, and how you get your funding, and worrying about maintenance, and worrying about parking, and that's, there's a big apple to shine every single day to make sure that every piece of it is covered, and you can focus on whatever piece of that is most appealing to you. You don't have to do all of them. But if you want to focus on the production side, where you want to just work on in the creative world, and you want to be a writer or a producer or a director, then those are skills you can develop in the program. I've also been very honest about this, that the students who come to the Rosen College are intended to come to be managers, producers, leaders in the industry. If you're interested in being a film director, you want to direct a film, we have a wonderful film program. So I'm not trying to talk you into out of coming here. Please come here. It's a great school. But if you want to be an actor, you go to the acting school, right? But if you want to run a music theater, a music festival, that's a big part of our student population wants to go into some aspect of music as an artist manager, or as a festival manager, or going on concert tours. And in all the logistical aspects of running the entire thing is entertainment management, whereas as Sean had mentioned, the production management is running the show itself, a smaller, more specific area, which we also focus on that in our program as well. Hope that answers your question.
Excellent. Thanks, Ray. And this is a perfect moment to run to Jessica and Jeannie. Maybe Jessica, if we go first. This was the question I asked. What's the difference between entertainment management as a program and event management? Because we've got one or two students here who may be a little bit undecided between the two. So Jessica,
Sure.
Jessica first.
I mean, the reality is there's so much crossover between the two. I mean, a massive component of the event paradigm is that entertainment, that value add there. So, you know, I think, you know, Sean said it will depend to you on what program maybe feels right. You know, the nice thing about our programs is that there are some overlapping courses in the beginning. So you get the opportunity to get a sense of both there. And, you know, from my philosophy, the more you expose yourself to and the more diverse your skill set becomes, you're going to try on a lot of different hats and you're going to find out the hat that fits right to you. So even if you make a decision to go on one program when you enter, you know, you've got the opportunity to shift gears if you get into it a little bit and you find that there's a better fit for you. But from an event standpoint, I mean, you know, events is such an incredibly diverse industry. When we think about the world of events, where we're talking everything from the mega events like your Super Bowls, your World Cups, the Olympics, big part of the meetings and conventions, trade shows, expositions. We're talking about community and cultural fairs. We talk about the nonprofit sector, as well as entertainment-driven events. So there's just such broad strokes. And then, you know, as Ray said, there's so many different job opportunities within that field. So if you love the production side, if you love the entertainment side, there's a home for you there. If you love the logistics side of it and you really love the operational aspects of it, there's a home for you there. If you love the marketing and promotions aspect, there's a home for you there. So it's just such a wide and diverse portfolio of programs. Now, you know, kind of going back to that why study, there is no better school that's positioned to be in the heart of its sector than we are. I mean, we're the heart of the tourism and hospitality corridor here in Central Florida. Every major player is in our backyard. And I think one thing that really separates our program overall is that close relationship with industry. There is no school, I think, that's better positioned with the strong industry ties than we are. And it's fair to say this has been a hard and challenging year, particularly for our industry. But it will absolutely come back. The signs are already starting to show there. We're starting to get more events in. And Orlando is being heralded right now as sort of a leader in some of those best practices for meetings and events and shows and productions. So, you know, it's a great school to look at no matter what your degree program is. But again, I think that the great thing about our programs is, you know, you get in, you take a couple courses here and there, you start to get a sense for what feels right for you. You make connections with your professors, you make connections with the guest speakers that they bring in and all of the other different industry partners that come to our campus or through all of the various virtual sessions that we're doing now. So regardless of which program you choose, there's so much opportunity for you to connect to the industry from day one when you start the program.
Lovely, thank you. And Jeannie, can I ask a slightly different question? It's about careers. Can you name some of the sort of careers that your students have gone on to after the event management program? What type of things do they do?
Okay, well, if you think about events, a lot of people think about planning, right? Event planning, meeting planning. However, we have to think in a more broader spectrum, like Jessica was mentioning, how broad events are. So we have the planner side, but we also have a ton of suppliers that support our industry. So we can't have an event without the venues. We can't have an event without the decorators, without the photographers, without the audiovisual people. All of those are outlets where our students can go and get a job. So you can become an meeting planner, you can become an event planner at the convention center, you can be a convention sales manager at a hotel. There are students that go to audio and video production, kind of overlapping with that entertainment side. There are so many outlets where you can go to. There are DMCs, which are called destination management companies. And those are the people that will create your event. They have the creative. So if you're very creative, if you're innovative, you want to talk with a planner about ideas, that is a place where you can go to set up the event. Are you good with designing? There are event design companies where students can go to. So there is a lot that, if you like marketing, like you can be in a marketing company. With events, if you really think about it, any industry, any company, they will have some sort of a meeting. They will host some sort of an event. So all of those companies are also a possibility where an event person can get a job. Restaurants, they have an event manager. There are theme parks, they have an event department. So there are many places where our students are going to get more experience and build their careers.
Lovely. Thanks, Jeannie. So Sam, this is a question for you as one of the key advisors. If I'm undecided, I start entertainment management, but I think, oh, perhaps I may want to switch to event management, or I start with event management and I think, Dr. Edie, he sounds fun. I want to switch to entertainment. How easy is it to switch, and what do I need to know of to go through the process?
For sure. So during orientation, I would definitely bring up the fact that you are in between both majors, because we can help you out that first semester with taking courses that overlap. The great thing is the event industry, which is the first course for event majors, also overlaps with the entertainment the entertainment management program. So we would probably recommend you take the intro to entertainment industry course and then take the event industry just starting off. And then that also gives you the opportunity to explore both majors, really get an insight on what opportunities are out there for you. After that first semester, we always recommend, regardless, to meet with an advisor during that first semester, so we can just go over, get a sense of more of what you want to do after graduation, and then go from there to plan. And then maybe we would want to figure out exactly which major you want to select. With entertainment, it is one of our more unique degree programs. It doesn't have as many overlapping courses as, say, like hospitality and event management. So I would probably recommend within that first semester meeting with either me, any academic advisor. You do not have an assigned advisor at Rosen, which is great. So you can test all of us out if you even want to, and go from there, build relationships. And then we would figure out exactly which major would work best for you.
Lovely. Excellent. Thanks, Sam. Jill, as you well know, I've been here 8 years, and one of the things I had no idea about Orlando when I moved here was it's such a mecca for sport. I had no idea, and I'm a sport nut. So I'm in heaven here. Can you explain to everyone, why is it such a good place to study sport, and what sort of sporting options are open to everyone?
Good. Well, I've been here. This is my 24th year at UCF, so I think I have the best years here. So everybody, it is a good place to be. You know, Orlando is so centrally located. You know, we have the, as mentioned, we had the NBA bubble. We have bowl games. We have that soccer team that I believe Dr. Fael likes. They do have
City.
Yeah, there you go. They got purple. What's neat is that Orlando also has attracted the USTA. USTA Florida moved their headquarters to Lake Nona. An hour north is the LPGA headquarters in Daytona. I've been a member for, let's see, 30 plus years. The PGA Tour is 2.5 hours north, the headquarters, and the teaching division is in Palm Beach Gardens. So if you want association work, there are so many opportunities in Central Florida. It is a mecca. We've got the Disney facilities that is attracting a tremendous amount of attention right now based on their success with the playoffs. Tampa's just down the road. They'll be hosting, we hope, the NFL Super Bowl come January. And so Orlando is just, you know, a tremendous place. We also have corporations. If you are with us next year, hopefully we'll have a return of a charity event that I've been a part of for many, many years. It's with the Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital. We have the head surgeon that does the Kids Kidney Center, and our proceeds go to help the children in dire need. We have the Arnold Palmer Invitational that happens every March, and my students have been able to see from start to finish, months in advance, what the golf course looks like, what they need to prepare for. 2 weeks before, they are brought back out there and they see the television towers, they see all the electricity and the water run to all the hospitality tents. Then we see right after the event what thousands of people have done to that beautiful golf course and the cleanup. All of this is, all part of not only the fan experience, but it's behind the scenes. It impacts the economy. It's a tourism factor. Orlando is an incredible place to get all of this experience. So, this panel alone, looking at the backgrounds and the connections, whichever direction you go, whether it be entertainment, events, sporting, food and beverage, we're all connected. We're all hospitality. We're all about the fan experience and the guest experience. So there's tremendous opportunity in Orlando and beyond. So
excellent.
Mhm.
Lovely. Thanks, Jill. Sean, I'm going to come back to Sean. If you look at Corey has got entertainment written all over his face. Okay, it's very clear he's that effervescent character. But lots of students in entertainment are actually quite shy and quite quiet. So if I'm a slightly quiet or shy individual, but I've got a real passion for entertainment, what would you advise?
Just continue to seek it out. There are not just, I think entertainment, because of the name and what we think of as consumers of entertainment, we think everyone in entertainment is the Coreys of the world, right? No, just kidding, Corey, right? But we think everyone is the show role, whether they're on stage or they're actors or they're artists, and we have many students across our programs that want to manage artists and are musicians in their own right or want to be performers. But that's only one aspect of the business, and perhaps the most visible just because we consume that as consumers. Right, but there have to be people making all of that stuff behind the scenes. And some of the kind of most quiet, or we might even say introverted folks that I've worked with, they are the production managers. They are making sure they are raising the money. They're getting the budgets. They're the stage managers that are calling the show. They're the costume designers, right? There are all these other aspects that happen. So if you have a passion for either event or entertainment management, there's a role within the industry for you that fits both the love of the industry and the comfortability of where you feel that you fit and bring the most value.
Excellent. And I'm going to bounce up. I love Zoom screens because it's like a chessboard. You just move around. Jeannie and Jessica, what would you say are the real, when you look at your very, very successful students, what sort of characteristics do those students have that do you think have really contributed to their success? Jessica, if we start with Jessica.
Sure. It's just a drive, and it's the hustle. They want to go out there. And, I always tell students that I've got such a great gig because I get to spend half my time in the classroom getting to know the next generation of leaders within our industry. And then I also get to work on projects that I have a passion for. But when I think back, I've been with this college now, for 14 years when I started as an adjunct, but for the last 7 as a faculty member. And I think about all of the hundreds of students that have come through my class, and at this point, thousands. And it's amazing to me to see where they go and how they take what they've learned here and they just bring it to the market. It's unbelievable. I mean, today I had the opportunity to moderate a panel of alumni, and a couple of them had been former students. And, now they are at the Orlando Magic. They're with USTA. I've got a gentleman who's coming in to join me another, next week, who's with the Academy of Country Music and just produced their televised award ceremony. So when I think about, where students go, both domestically and internationally, it's amazing. But each one brings something different, and each one sort of identifies their passion. So I've got students who have worked in the White House. I've got students who work within big entertainment events with CMA and the ACMs and the Emmys. I've had students that work within the nonprofits and have gone off to have extremely successful and rewarding careers in that. I recently had an alum that joined my class this semester who is the director for a new spirits company. So, really the opportunities are really endless. But I think the main characteristic of sort of those rock star students that I see is a passion and a grit and a determination to take everything that they've learned here and get out there and just show what they can do. And it's amazing to me to see how fast and how far they fly when given those opportunities.
I love your word hustle. You started your response with a hustle. That is a Rosen student. They hustle.
They sure do.
They hustle. Jeannie, what about in the sort of more business side of events? Because I know you teach conventions, trade shows. What's the sort of skill set for students to succeed in those areas?
Yeah, first of all, I agree with the passion. I think our event management students have that passion and they go out there and share that passion, show that passion. On the business event side, conventions, conferences, the thing about those industries, and especially if you're working at a venue like the convention center or a conference center, you're not just dealing with one type of industry. You're hosting multiple events, like the second largest convention center we have here in Orlando, the Orange County Convention Center. They host more than 200 events a year. And in that, there are medical conventions, there are theme park conventions, they have, airplanes, jetliners, all sorts of conventions happening every year, every week. So you have to have an open mind, be flexible, try to understand each and every different type of industry, because if you're dealing with a medical association, it's going to be different from working with an educational association, working with a religious association, working with the theme park industry. So it's all going to be different. So that's the fun part of it, I think, because you're not tied to one type of industry. You get to experience all these different types of industries while doing something that you're passionate about. Planning events, making sure everything goes right, when of course it's not going to go as planned all the time. But that's the fun part of it. If you want the action, you want variety, you don't want to be just sitting at a desk every day from 9 to 5 doing the same thing. This is going to be different, and you cannot expect and predict what's going to happen the day of. So that's the fun part of it, knowing how to think quickly, how to handle that, the craziness, keeping your cool, keeping your calm. So yeah, it's fun.
Lovely. Thanks, Jeannie. And I think this is time to bring in Corey. Corey, you've been with us a little bit of time now. How do you think you've changed as a person in response to the courses that you've taken and what you've learned so far? If you were chatting to your father, maybe someone said, I've been at Rosen College and this is how it has changed me. What would you say?
That is a big question.
Yeah, sorry about that. But...
No, I love it. I have changed so much. And I think Professor Richards, Mr. Eady, and Dr. Bliznick, they've seen me especially Professor Richards, since freshman year. So looking back at little freshman Corey, first, I looked different. My glasses, my hair, everything was different. But I was so unsure of myself. And I was so nervous that I was going to make the wrong decision, or that if I did entertainment management or if I went to hospitality, that I was just nervous everything was wrong. I couldn't even choose between hospitality and entertainment. It took me, I want to say, a month or 2 months. I don't know, Mr. Eady and I had lots of conversations about what is right for me. Is it hospitality? Is it entertainment? Is it event? And going from then to now, I have learned, one, a lot more about who I am and what I value. Regardless of the job I have, I've learned that I value people a lot. I've also learned I value people's opinion of me, which I need to work on. But I've learned a lot about my values and my capabilities and what I need to use to my strength and what I need to work on. So that is a big part of a lot of our classes, especially I can't stop talking about entertainment leadership because I feel like I've learned so much in that class about who I am. Beyond just learning about who I am, though, I have learned the biggest thing to learn that I've learned, I keep saying that word over and over, but the biggest thing is that my path is not vertical or horizontal, it is a circle. I have I used to think, okay, Corey, you're going to work at Disney, you're going to get this position, you're going to go to character attendant, you're going to make it to this and this. I have learned that life isn't like that. It's not this vertical stream of things that I'm doing. It's a whole circle. And to get to my dream place, I've got to go all around, up and down. And maybe my dream place isn't even what I thought it was. My career path has changed from wanting to be a character performer, which I still want to be, but a character performer, to a manager of character performers, to stage manager, to now I'm even thinking of film. Now I'm thinking of theme parks in general. But I have opened my mind up from being just Disney to now being anything entertainment, because ultimately through the degree I found what makes me happy. And while location is fantastic, and while like, yes, I want to work at Disney, yes, that's my dream, I have learned more about why I want to entertain than where I want to entertain. And what I want to do is I want to give people the same happiness that I've received through entertainment, and I can do that anywhere. So this degree has given me the opportunity to find more about myself and figure out how to hone my craft in a way that it can be transferable to other places. Beyond that, though, I mean, the connections I've made with professors, the experiences I've had working with UCF, and the biggest advice I have for people coming in is network with your professors. Rosen professors, especially, all of them work in the industry, literally all of them. Mr. Edie had my dream job, like stage managing Fantasmic, literally had my dream job. And the intro to entertainment class was with him, and I marched right up, I think the first or second class, and I said, I want your job, can I shadow you? And he let me shadow him at Fantasmic. So get to know your professors. Dr. Bliznick, he let me shadow him at Toy Story Land with the character performers, because that's another dream of mine. Your professors are not, I don't want to say that, but I feel like in high school, a lot of times you can think, well, what does my teacher know? What does my teacher really know? Like, do they really know all the things that they're teaching me? Your professors actually do. They have had experience in the fields. They know exactly what you need to know. So trust them. So yeah, I guess I've learned values. I've learned my career path is a circle, and I've learned to really reach out to my mentors.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Can I tell the students what this means? Let me tell you what Corey said and what it means to you thinking about being a student at Rosen. What he's proven is that the foundation you get at Rosen allows you to do all of the stuff he's talking about, right? The flexibility of charting a career path or following a passion that you may have thought it's still within entertainment or it's still within events. The foundation you build will allow you to go anywhere, right? And then even within those things, and companies like Disney or Universal, SeaWorld, these massive companies, you could spend 30, 40, 50 years in that one company just traversing different opportunities, all stemming from this initial foundation you built here with us at Rosen.
Place. I'm going to come to the place theme because there's a couple of questions here, and I'll go to Ray because I know Ray's done the study abroad. What do students learn at Rosen? Does that prepare them for a entertainment or event career internationally?
Yeah, I saw that question in the chat. That's a very good question, and the answer is yes. The short answer is yes. The skills that you would acquire here, and I can't speak to the event department as well as obviously as Jeannie and Jessica could, or to sports as well as Jill could, but broadly, if you're putting on an event or you're working on a sporting event or you're putting on entertainment, our cultures aren't radically different enough that you couldn't do them somewhere else. You can transfer those skills to a different location if you want to. I would even posit that the ability to be flexible in your location will give you the most opportunities in your career. If your priority is to stay in a certain place because of family or because of obligations, or you just like the city, that's fine. You have a very vibrant, successful career in one place. If you're able to move, you will have the ability to move more rapidly up into different jobs. So that's something to keep in mind. That location flexibility will help you. And looking at even going abroad, overseas somewhere else, or not even overseas, go Canada or Mexico or South America, something. You can certainly find careers anywhere, and the skills you have here will carry some weight with that. And to what Dr. File's point was, over 2 different summers, I led a study abroad program to study theme parks and entertainment events and some sporting events across Europe. 2018 and 2019 in the summers, and they were wildly successful. We saw the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, Scotland. We got to go to the Chelsea football stadium and walk on the grass. I'm sure that Alan is crazy jealous about that. Sorry, and maybe Jill too. We got to see them up close and their museums. Went to a classical festival in London. We saw some amazing events in Paris. In the second year, we also went to also Switzerland, a couple of different music festivals in Switzerland. The second year we did Spain, and then France again, and then up to Germany, and ended up in the Netherlands. So these amazing places. And what the students learned from that was sometimes they thought some things that we did, we might do them better. Some things they did better. They were different, but they weren't so foreign that they couldn't be understood and grappled and taken into their own way of working in that industry. And they for most of them, their enthusiasm has only gone up for the chance to go. And they actually made some fun contacts. If you are, as put this way, I put it very nicely, as assertive as Corey is in your work as a student, if you just get up and go to class and then go home at night, you'll get a degree, that'll be fine. You are not serving yourself very well if that's what you do. Corey is involved in everything on campus. Any club he wants to be in, he is in it. And there are so many, you can be in clubs for theme parks, for music, for event planning, for theater, for film, you name it. There's a club about that thing, and they network and they career develop and they work on resumes and they meet people and they have special guest speakers, and every club you're involved in can do all those things as well. And it's really a way to develop yourself. So when you finish out here, you have this giant resume of your academic experiences, plus also maybe you went to Europe for a couple of weeks and you were the president of this club, and you went on you met some people in this thing, and you made some great contacts for letters of recommendation, and you have this deep ability to go in a lot of different directions, which is really what Corey is able to capitalize on now, because he's using these skills, which is why we love him being here to sort of show kind of the best you can do as a student. And I also know Dr. Bliznik had planned to do a study abroad this past summer. Sadly, of course, because of circumstances, didn't work out. Very optimistic that he will do one again very soon. I don't know if Sean, if you want to talk about that briefly as well, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, Sean, could you briefly introduce your plans?
Yeah, so our plans last year were to go to Asia. I was waiting for it to hit, and then you saw why we couldn't do that, right? So we were going to, our focus was on entertainment and theme park, and the same model that Professor Edie created, but taking it to a different region of the world to explore those businesses there. And then we had a small modification because Asia was closed, but we were supposed to go to Australia, and then the world shut down and we went nowhere. Unfortunately, there is no plan currently. UCF Global still suspended study abroad travel in the summer of 21. So we're hopeful that the world will be inoculated, that people will be wearing masks, things will be back to normal, and we can take you to glamorous and worldly places in 22.
We will get there, Sean. We will get there.
I also wanted to hop in real quick if I could after Mr. Edie talking about assertiveness as a student. I know if I were a lot of the incoming students right now, I would be kind of overwhelmed because I know coming in from high school, you're so nervous that you're going to get into college and you have to do this and this, you have to get involved with this and that and all that. Number one advice, first semester, take it for yourself. Get involved. Don't stress yourself out too much though. Get involved, start getting a hand on your classes, but remember, it is just your first semester. It is okay to take that to really figure out who you are coming out of a student from high school and into college. Now, you're not going to figure out your whole self yet. I mean, I'm still a senior. I don't know who I am still completely, but in that first semester, don't stress yourself out too much. Take the time, really work on yourself, get involved a little bit if you want. Getting super involved will come to you, especially at Rosen. Almost every Rosen student is pretty involved, I would say. And if they're not involved on campus, they're involved through work, which they have to do because they go to Rosen, because we have to do internships. So don't freak out if you're super nervous about getting involved, or if you're super shy or you're really quiet. Once you get here, you will find your voice. You will figure out exactly who you are. And it's not a race. You don't have to rush to figure it all out. You will get there. So I want to reassure you that it's okay if you're freaking out and nervous right now. That is completely okay.
Excellent. And it's really nice to have the view of a student. And on that theme, I'm going to go sort of Jessica, Jeannie, or Jill collectively. What actually happens in a class? So we've spoken about all these opportunities, study abroad, and all these amazing careers. But what actually happens in a class? What do I, as a student, what do I do? Do I just sit there and listen? Jessica?
The answer is it's pure magic. But I mean, the reality is we focus on the business aspects first and foremost. I see both Abigail and Jenna's questions here, and when I go into an intro class and I have mostly freshmen, some sophomores, one of the questions I ask on the first day is, where do you want to go? What do you want to be? And a lot of the answers I hear in that first year are, I want to go into music festivals or I want to plan weddings. And to that point, that's most of the events that maybe you've experienced at that point, right? But as you get into the program, you start to really understand the size and the scope of the industry. And as I spoke to, we cover all different types of events, from the big mega events to some of those more social driven events. Big part of the meetings, conventions, and trade shows, because that's really the bread and the butter of our industry. We go into sporting events, we cover all of those things. And in the classroom, we're very hands-on, and I think you've gotten a sense that we are practitioners, right? We've come from the industry. So we bring in that, not just here's what it says in the textbook, but here's what the real life aspect is. So from an event management standpoint, I mean, your courses are staggered so that you get a full picture of the industry and you understand the tactical and strategic nature of the job. So, events happen because they need to fulfill an objective. And generally that's a business objective. So we get into the financial models. You'll go through the process as a planner of developing a request for proposal, and from a supplier's perspective, analyzing that, responding with a proposal, going through the contracting phase, starting to understand what are the things that I need to be thinking about as I'm making a selection of what city I'm going to take my program to, what type of venues are we going to utilize, what type of entertainment are we going to have, what are the transportation components, what are the food and beverage components. So we start to look at all of those different pieces. And as I said earlier, there's so many aspects and so many roles and so many opportunities and jobs in there. But very much our classes are real world based. They're very practical, they're very tactical, and the assignments that you do in many of those classes are going to be the same things that you're going to do on the job once you get out there. So our goal is to help you understand the nature of the industry, and then really understand how to fulfill those roles, and what are the skill sets that you need to hit the ground running to be as successful as possible. So I'll turn it over to either Jeannie or Jill to kind of fill in any blanks.
I can jump in, unless Jeannie, are you ready? Okay.
You can go first.
Okay. What I try to do.
Be assertive, Jill.
There you go.
Events and entertainment. Be assertive.
But I'm from Iowa, so I'm
yeah,
Iowa.
That's true.
Okay. So, when you're listening to everybody, I think you see that the backgrounds and the passion that we have for our respective industry is tremendous. For me, I like to, bring in historically what has happened in the sport. This week we have the Masters that will be played for the very first time without fans, but we will be talking about fan engagement and how the PGA and what they've done in their social media strategies, keeping the fans engaged to the sport. When I went to the US Open, I brought in the tennis open. Talk about entertainment. I had a hard time getting into the stadium because I was out in the experience outside of the tennis stadium. It was all about entertainment and the event. So what I do is I really try to bring in current events, and because if we can't learn from what's happening today, and I'm not just talking about what's happening in the world as far as the pandemic, but this is, our textbooks, we try to stay current, but the most current thing that we can do is bring in our industry and what's happening with the strategies that we're talking about in class. So I do that. I've been to the Masters, so I'm excited to share some of the things with my students, and I'll be asking them to log on and watch a little bit of the Masters and watch how the commercials change from the Masters event to maybe a NFL game. The music is different, the sponsorships are different, the commentary, the look is different. So that's what I do. I try to bring in current events, and I ask the students, if they don't have background in sports, we can transfer these skills to something that they have experienced. So again, that's what is happening. I'm totally online this semester, as most of us are, but we have an opportunity to bring in, you know, the sporting world globally. And so it actually is, in some respects, quite energizing, because we can bring in more events. So anyway, that's what I do, bringing in sporting events, and it's an exciting week if you're a golfer or like to watch one of the most prestigious events, which is the Masters, which is very unusual to be happening in November. The azaleas will not be blooming. The fans will not be roaring, but I'm sure they'll be creative, as they have been with the football games and the Major League Baseball, the World Series. I'm sure they're going to be doing a bunch of fun stuff, and we can learn from that as well. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Hom.
Jill,
Yep.
you've missed Orlando City Soccer, who are in the playoffs for the first time ever, because prior to this year, they've lost every game they've ever played. So 2 weeks' time, New York City. But just before I go to Jeannie, you've cued Jeannie lovely. You mentioned something that I was going to mention a little bit later on. Yeah. Online teaching.
Yeah.
Everybody on this screen who teaches in the classroom, and they teach online. And I'm biased, being an associate dean. I think we're excellent at online education here. Jeannie, sorry to give this question to you first. How do you differentiate what you do in the class as to what you do online? Because I know you're a good online educator. How do you vary the two, and how do you get that engagement from the students?
It is always a challenge to get students engaged online. I was preparing to talk about what we do in the classroom. Like every class that I have in class, I like to go in and we talk about what's going on in the world of events. We talk about anything, like anything can impact events. Political stuff impacts events. The economy impacts events. So I like to talk about that. And the cool thing about the Rosen College being in Orlando is that our students are all working. Most of them are working. So they have all these experiences. So students learn from each other. So I like to ask students, you know, what are you seeing in your work right now? What's happening? And they all have a lot to say. So students learn from each other. So if we bring that in from the in-class online, it's still engaging and we learn from each other. That's the cool part. That's the fun part. Other students want to learn from others and see what's going on. We talk about what kind of events are happening every week. This week, what events are happening, not only locally, but also internationally. What are those big events that are happening? Who's been to this? Who has experience on that? Things like that. And also they share, if they're planning an event, a small event, whether it's a small one or a big one, they share it. They advertise it to other students. They share volunteering experiences, or you can sign up to do this and that. So all of that. And, you know, we use Zoom if we're doing it online. If we're doing an interactive session, it really brings that in-class experience online. I like to bring in guest speakers as well. That's another great aspect of the Rosen College, because we are in the heart of hospitality and tourism and events and theme parks. We have all these great connections with the industry, and they are always excited to come and talk to our students. So bringing them in to bring the real world experience to the students, because a lot of times when they come, they have that perception of what the event industry is, what kind of jobs there are. With entertainment, they might have perceptions that, oh, this is what it is. However, I tell the students to have an open mind, be flexible. You hear a guest speaker coming in, some might say, oh, that's a field that I'm interested in. That's a company I'm interested in, so I'll listen. However, there might be some students that are saying, I'm not really interested in that. I know what they do. But you don't really know every aspect of that job. So I tell them, just come in, listen. It will open your minds. You'll learn something new. And it really does. I love bringing in Visit Orlando. My friend Carolyn, Professor Richards knows her too. So whenever she speaks, students are just blown away. They had no idea what this organization does and how it connects to the events industry. So, you know, it's really hard to keep it engaged online, but we try our best using technology, bringing people in, trying to get students to talk. But yeah, it's been a challenge.
Excellent.
And
Really
Alan, if I can just add one thing
Yeah.
to that, you know, I think certainly our classes tend to be very, you know, dynamic, and you can really connect. You know, we're not an institution where you're going to go into a lecture hall with 500 other kids or 1,000 other students. It's very personal, right? And to Jeannie's point, our students have a good amount of experience, and we want them to share that. Certainly the faculty is very engaged in the industry. The industry is very engaged with the college. There's so much opportunity to connect and to get to know people. You know, certainly this is a new paradigm with all of our classes going online. And, you know, these technologies still allow us to get personal with students and to be able to connect. And you know, the guest speakers, one of the best things about this is the ability to bring in guest speakers that aren't local to Orlando. So I've got folks from all over the world that are coming into our classes now. My speaker on Monday, like I said, just produced the Academy of Country Music's award ceremony that he's been doing for years now, hosted by Keith Urban. So again, we have the opportunity to touch people in very influential areas of the business that want to come in and talk to our students and share their expertise, and then a connection is formed, and then a job happens, right? And that's really how it happens. So it's that very kind of organic way that we can bring in all of those pieces. And I think at the end of the day, you get the knowledge from the class, but you really get a sense of community. And our events industry and our entertainment industry, it's big and broad, but at the end of the day, it's really a small, tight-knit community. And it's amazing how many people kind of circle into that. So again, you know, getting involved, getting to know all of the different opportunities, getting to know people in the industry, I think that's a key strength of our program. And certainly when I talk to students and they talk to me about their Rosen experience, that's one of the top things that I hear is I got the opportunity to find my passion and to connect with people. And the next thing I know, I'm off and running doing all of these awesome things.
excellent. Thank you very much. Slightly different tack, and it's something you said, Jessica. I'm going to bring in Ray from the professor context and Corey from the student context. Question I was going to ask, do I have to work in groups? Do we have to do group assignments? As if group assignments is the devil incarnate. Ray, how do you handle group assignments?
Sure. I'll let Corey talk about this as well, because he's been in a couple of my classes and done that. So he can certainly speak to that, what it's like as a student. But yeah, we think it's very important that we have our students understand what it's like to work on a team, because there's really no way to do anything in any of these industries, entertainment, sports, or events or theme parks by yourself. You don't work in a vacuum. So you need to work with a team collaboratively. So we design a lot of our courses where you'll have a portion of your grade will be some kind of a group project. Could be a presentation, could be a video, it could be some other kind of production. But it's an important component of the educational experience. And fortunately, we've been able to bring that over onto the online version of classes as well. We still assign the groups. They may never meet face to face, but obviously the technology exists, but they don't need to. I have students who are overseas right now taking my class. So it's hard to find a time when they can see each other because of the time difference, but they still find a way to make it work because that's the way the world works. And there's a lot of value out of that. I think it's something that students maybe grumble about sometimes, but it's an extremely valuable aspect of, I think, the coursework that we provide. I'd like to cede the rest of my time to Corey so he can speak about what that's like personally, if I could.
Yes, so this question answers so many of the questions we've had. First, in a way that I've changed, high school me, and I'm sure many of the incoming students would have cringed at the idea of a group project because working with other people, not having control over your own grade, very scary. However, once you do your first group project, it's a little nerve-wracking to let go of the reins a little bit and let other people get involved, but you'll gain an appreciation of different personalities so much. This answers the questions about, like, do you all have to be super positive and energetic, or can you be shy? In group projects, you learn how to work with every single kind of person. I want to say I've done almost 9 or 10 group projects now, I think, in my time at Rosen, which sounds very scary, but every single one has been different. I have learned to get along with so many different people. I'm so used to trying to take the reins on a project. I have learned how to step back and do what I'm told and get it put together and worked out. But to give examples on group projects, I've done a bridal expo. One time we had practiced that in Professor Richard's class. We created a theme park about Hercules. We've done a storytelling festival. We've done a music video. So many different things that really help you prepare for the actual industry. And a lot of times the information you have to get for the project has to be real life worthy, I guess. So you have to get numbers for your budget that would actually exist. So while you might not be putting the event on in person or in real life, everything that you're researching for it has to be as if it is in real life. So group projects, the creativity that flourishes, the teamwork that happens, perfect. Very, very good. And I would not have said this 4 years ago, but you will learn to love them and really bask in all that you're learning from them.
And if I can just add one more thing, because I can't believe the student projects aren't your favorite thing. But here's the reality, right? The events and entertainment business is a team-driven business. Sometimes you work with the same people for years and they become a second family to you. Other times, often you're together for one project for a brief time, you're working cross time zones, you have all different skill sets coming in, and you've got to figure out how to bring people together for a common goal. And that's really the crux of what these projects relate to. It's to how to develop those interpersonal skills that are vital. I had the opportunity to host a panel today of some alumni, and it's funny, some of our current students asked the alumni, you know, what were the things that you learned at Rosen College that were the most beneficial to you when you got into the industry? And Katie, you know, one of the first things she said was group projects. She goes, I may not have loved them at first, but I've got to tell you now that I've been in the industry, understanding how to work with lots of different types of people and come together as a team to accomplish your goals. She goes, that is one of the most important skill sets that I have learned and one of the most beneficial to me. So absolutely, to Ray and Corey's point, they are a component of many of our classes, but at the end of the day, those are some of the things that will be the most beneficial. How do I work with all of these different folks and get people on the same page to accomplish our goal?
Excellent, thank you. And talking about teamwork, we team up with our colleagues on the main campus occasionally. So I'm going to come to Sam in a sec, but maybe Ray or Sean, you have interactions with the College of Arts and Humanities. How does it work? So, you know, we've got different colleges working on this program. How does it work to the students' benefit?
Go ahead, Sean, you can take it.
Well, I would just say that it works because we're all focused on the same end goal. So recently, both Ray and I have been in conversations. One of the classes that are part of the core in entertainment management is this idea of a theater careers class, which is supported and taught through the College of Arts and Humanities. But we have worked with them to talk about, well, what does this look like if we built an entirely online version or a web-based version? And so I think what both the professors at KA and us here at Rosen understand is we are trying to complete your academic portfolio so that you can be successful. Where you take those classes, how it works is honestly irrelevant to us. If that's what you need and you're interested in that and they can offer that, you can take that as elective and you can check that box and get exposure to a different college, exposure to different faculty, and round out that knowledge base, then have at it. I mean, that's what we're here to do. And that's kind of UCF global thinking, right? We're all sort of in this together to get you to a finish line. Certainly most of your preparation of the race will be here at Rosen, but certainly there are other colleges that will supplement that work as well.
Yeah, I guess, Brett, and I would totally agree with all that and say that I think the students who leverage their educational experience effectively get all they need out of the degree program at Rosen College, but say they want to work with musicians. It's a great idea to take some music classes, music appreciation, music theory, maybe do some singing or play an instrument yourself so you understand what that's like. If you want to be involved in acting, take an acting class. It's only going to help you understand what's going on through the heads of the people on stage, or a stage management class, something that gets you hands-on, a film class, a film production class. If you want to go into film and commercials and internet video production. So there are different aspects of the experience you can take as your electives to help you be more well-rounded in your field. And like I said before, it's typically those who don't necessarily want to be on stage or else they would be, maybe that would be their major. But again, we make, I would say generally, I would say we make producers in the entertainment department, entertainment management program. It's managers and producers. It's not necessarily directors. That's different. And it's different to be on stage and performing yourself. But if you want to be in charge of the team that makes the entire thing happen, you want to run the festival, you want to run the theme park, you want to run, the sporting event, you want to run the event. That's kind of who we try to create. And it's a path to get there. You don't graduate from our program and all of a sudden you're the CEO of Hilton, but you have a path to get there with a skill set we try to provide for you, and networking opportunities and the confidence that we hopefully we provide for you in the process.
And I would say, don't let logistics impede you, right? I know that we're Rosen and we sit in this satellite location and there's a shuttle and we talk about the big campus and main campus and, oh, it's so far away. It's not on another planet, okay? So just recalibrate a little bit and be like, if there's something on main campus that will help me fill out what I am trying to do, do it. Do it. Drive up, take the shuttle, get an Uber, figure it out, right? Like, don't let that stop you in thinking, oh, well, it's not offered at Rosen, so sad is me. No, try again, right? Like, pick up, go up there, do the stuff that's going to only further help your overall degree, and then what you're going to bring to the industry once when you leave Rosen.
I love the main campus. I'm going to pivot to the main campus. Samantha, how does, just thinking at the main campus, how does advising work at the main campus? What's the sort of relationship? And how does advising work here? How do you do your job? How do students engage with you? How do they navigate these confusing curriculum maps?
Absolutely.
Talk us through it.
Yes, absolutely. So the nice thing is, like I mentioned, you can choose whichever advisor you would like, and we conveniently have advisors at the Rosen campus, and we also have 3 advisors that are over at the main campus. So if you decide to take classes over at the main campus, maybe you are starting off as a true freshman and you are taking general education courses, you're living over at main campus, you don't have to take the shuttle all the way over to Rosen if you don't want to meet with an advisor. You can meet with an advisor right over at the main campus. So we have that opportunity for you. But then again, we also have Rosen. So you have those networks either way. And right now, of course, with the pandemic, we are through Zoom completely. So you can meet with any advisor whatsoever. So that is very convenient. So it's nice to have that opportunity to really meet with whoever might fit with you best. You might meet with an advisor that you're like, you know what, they were really nice, but they don't have, maybe they don't have the personality that matches best with me. So let me try out somebody else. So you can try out somebody else, see what you think. So we do have that catalyst where it's over at the main campus and we have over at Rosen campus.
The benefit of the main campus, the advising is not too far from Starbucks. So it's always good for me, just across the mall. Lovely. Looking to the future, we've got about 10 more minutes. So just looking to the future, everyone. COVID is with us. It looks as if it's probably going to be around for about 5 or 6 months, maybe. What may be some positives that the event and the entertainment industry has learned from to actually do things better in the future? Because, okay, we always talk about the negatives, but in many ways, it's a time for reflection. Think, well, actually, perhaps we should be doing it differently anyway. So, who's Sean? Let's start with Sean. What positives might be coming out of COVID for the entertainment industry?
Well, I think Ray alluded to this, but I think what we realized is entertainment and entertainment events were one of the first to close for obvious reasons, because of size of venues, size of guests, close contact, all the things. And for any of you that's been in a Broadway house, things that were built in the 1800s, to get 6 feet away from another person is like 20 rows, right? I mean, there's no space, you're on top of each other. So it's just impossible to execute that. But I think what closing that demonstrated is 2 things. One, how much of a society, as Ray mentioned, we rely on consuming art and just entertainment in general to help us just speak to the human condition, right? A little Socrates, let's go back in time, like just what it is, what are we trying to get to? So I think people realized that all these times they were locked down, they kept streaming stuff and looking for more content, more content, more content to watch to sort of take their mind off. So one, we know it's important. One, we know it's an important business. It's both frugal and can make an entire career out of it. Two, what came from is that the industry that was hit the hardest, that's already full of these quote unquote creative individuals, had to figure out how to reinvent the industry, how to say, okay, now here's the deal. So we can't do that anymore. And I remember very, very early on when we all thought this was going to be for 2 weeks. We're just going to be in the house for 2 weeks and we'll go back to our normal life. And you're like, 2 weeks, think of all the house projects I can get done. And then here we are 9 months later, right? So what was super interesting is very early on, there were all of these kind of like Zooms, and there were Actors Fund. I watched a couple of the Actors Fund fundraisers to raise money to help displace costs from unemployment, other stuff for theaters that had closed. And you're like watching these shows where they've got 80 performers from all over the country that are somehow dialing in at 8:03 and then 8:07 to do a performance, to do a Q&A. So I think what you saw is the industry very quickly had to reinvent itself in the same way it has done before, which only further shows, and I think Jessica Richards said this, is that it's coming back. It's going to be back. People are going to consume this once again. They're going to go to movie theaters. They're going to go to regular theaters. They're going to go to weddings. They're going to parties. They're going to sporting events. It's just going to be about how we do it. And the win here is, as leaders in the industry, after you leave with this degree, we get to build the policy, procedures, and processes that allow people to engage in our content safely.
Excellent. Thank you, Sean. Events team, how may things be improving for the better in response to COVID?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick, and I agree with everything Sean said. You know, I think it's innovation. Our industry has certainly been hit hard, but we're starting to see signs of life, and we're seeing that we can do it safely and effectively, right? We've had 2 trade shows here at the Orange County Convention Center this year. Both one was a junior league volleyball tournament, the other was more of an industry function. But we've shown that we can gather and we can do it safely. We see this in our hotels as we're starting to see groups come back in. So the good news is, you know, we are kind of on the forefront of figuring out how to do it safely. What does the new normal look like? But the reality is, it's tremendous innovation. It's being able to apply so many different new technologies. It's being able to re-engineer things and think about things differently. And I think that that is such a strategic advantage that our students have, because the reality is organizations have been forced to innovate whether they wanted to or not, right? And a value that our students bring getting into the marketplace right now is fresh perspectives and fresh eyes, and an opportunity to see things differently, because we will have to do business differently as we move forward. To Sean's point, it will come back because we crave those things, as you know, it's in our social DNA, but we're going to have to do some things differently. So being able to rewrite those standard operating procedures and figure out what is the new normal and how do we do this in an effective and profitable way is key. And I think that's a huge value that our students bring to the marketplace right now, is the opportunity to take those skill sets and take what they've learned here and be able to apply that in the marketplace to really effect change. So it's easy to say this has been a tough year. There's no lie about that. But we're starting to see some encouraging signs. And certainly we will come back, and now it's how do we do that safely, effectively, and profitably.
I'm just going to ask Jill about the sport, but I'm a big fan of the Zoom walls that you now get at be it soccer or basketball. They're just great fun. So Jill, any signs of how the sort of sporting industry, in many ways, sport's probably at the forefront of some of this, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you know, sport brings people together. And we've seen, some of you are not old enough to know some of the other, experience some of the other crises that the world has experienced. And sport was what brought people back together. So, you know, it wasn't too many years ago that, you know, the motto out there was trying to get the fans back in the stands, because it was real easy with technology to sit on your couch with your family, a lot cheaper. You've got the big screen TVs, and you didn't have all the expense. So then what was happening is the stadiums were building swimming pools in the end zones, and they were creating the hospitality corridors so that it was a family-friendly experience. And then, of course, what happens? COVID. So they had to reinvent themselves, and the fan engagement that the you know, the social media experts have had to do, it has been absolutely incredible. And I think that they have found a new revenue source as well, because not everybody can go to Minneapolis and watch the Vikings. And so, how do you get fans engaged in another way? Again, just watch whatever industry that you're involved in, you can see. One of the things when the NFL started, I was surprised at, and I had to do a little bit of research, but this is all about communication. When the NFL launched their season, I noticed that the Minnesota Vikings didn't have any fans in the stands, but yet I turned over to the Kansas City Chiefs and I thought, well, I guess because they were the Super Bowl champions, they got fans. Well, this was a state by state policy and regulation. And so, sometimes I think that we learn from that. I learned, what happens, and it could be a political thing, but we won't go down that path. But political policy, I think it's important to share this with your stakeholders, because then they can understand and even get more innovative. So I see the sporting industry actually continue some of the trends that we're seeing right now, because they're able to engage so many more people. Of course, it's going to be fun to get back to the Masters and get to the golf tournaments and the running events and the soccer events and in full capacity. But yeah, I mean, it's been a cycle. It's been a cycle, but I think that there's been some great initiatives that I think are going to be adopted long term. So.
Thanks, Jill. And you just prompted, this is a question for anybody, because I'm not quite sure who would know the answer, but e-games. I know in downtown Orlando, which is just about 20 minutes north from where I'm sitting at the moment, EA Sports.
Yes.
So if you're a parent who's got a teenage son who's bad on soccer, all my money seems to go to EA Sports at the moment. So huge company coming to downtown Orlando. What about the sort of gaming, electronic side, probably of events and entertainment? I don't know who to ask. Well, yeah.
I could just share just briefly, and then I'll turn it over to the entertainment folks. Sports is entertainment. You see Topgolf as one of the premier areas, but with the esports, you look at the sponsors and who's getting involved. Disney being one of them, and it's a trend. I don't think it's going away. So again, certain things happen and we have to, sometimes we question it, and then all of a sudden you realize that this is the new normal. It's innovative and it's engaging. And so I'll turn that over to the entertainment group, because they probably could speak to that even further.
Yeah, I'd love to jump in there a little bit. We actually, another one of our professors, Robert Macy, and I just finished putting some finishing touches on a syllabus for a brand new course called Management of Gaming Enterprises, which we're planning on opening up hopefully next year. It has to go through the entire process of getting approved, so it's not like you just put it in place immediately. But if all goes well, we'll have that out there soon. And the idea then is helping you manage the process of working in the gaming world. Now, gaming can also apply to casino gaming. So we'll talk about casinos as well. But the probably more influential, impactful aspect of it is esports and game design. Financially, that's one of the biggest money makers, because you look at a movie like Avengers will make $100 billion in, maybe it take 3 or 4 months to get there, going around the world. A game like Fortnite comes out and makes $100 billion in like 24 hours. I mean, it's not even comparable as far as the impact of the finances. And obviously,
telling me I'm in the wrong business, right?
Yes, that's how. Well, you're giving them all your money instead of making the money. So, but it's a huge industry, and they need people to help run those projects. Again, you're not going to have your hands in the code designing the game. We have a different school at UCF, FIA, Florida Interactive Entertainment. And they design games and create games and code the actual of games. But there's a production team that's to come up with a storyline and a budget and a marketing scheme and a timeline and produce the entire event like you're producing a concert or a show. You're making a game, an experience for people to take care. And technology is constantly changing, which brings back to the whole COVID situation. This is a disruption. But there are constant disruptions. Technology will always change. Is it virtual reality? Is it augmented reality? Is it neither of those? People want tangible experiences. You can go in many different ways in this and pursue the one that's most interesting to you. But we try to provide you all the experiences you can to be to take your pick, whichever one you're most excited about. So I think that's where I'll probably leave that.
Wonderful. And Ray, you've read the cue when Jenith comes back on the screen. I know I've got 2 minutes. So Corey, final question for you as the student. In literally 60 seconds, why come and study at the Rosen College for events and entertainment? What is it that makes this place so special?
Location wise, you couldn't choose a better place. I mean, we are in the heart of Orlando. There's Disney, Universal, SeaWorld. If you don't like those things though, we have so much other entertainment that is here. Also, the professors that we have, fantastic. They all work hands-on in the field. And not only that though, they genuinely care about the students. You might be in a class full of 100 people, but they still know every single person in that class. And also just the campus itself, Rosen as a whole, is so inclusive, so diverse, and so accepting that I hate saying this because it sounds so corny, but you will find a home. Like, you truly will find your home. And people care about you so much as a person, a student, and a leader. So I feel like that's the best I can put it. Just, you will find your home here. Corey, thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate your time. And thank you, colleagues. Really, I learned a lot this evening. So excellent. Really, really appreciate the honesty and the depth of your answers. So thank you very much indeed. Jenith, I pass to you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fayal, for moderating the panel. But thank you to all of our faculty and to Corey for joining us for Student Perspective. I get the pleasure of working with these folks year in and year out, and the passion that Corey speaks about from a student perspective, these faculty members don't waver in that. They have the same enthusiasm that when I came to campus 12 years ago today. And so it's exciting. These are dynamic degree programs. We want to remind you, if you are a high school senior or planning to transfer to UCF next year, to go ahead and apply to UCF. The application is open. We're on rolling admissions. Go ahead and get that information in. If you think of a question that you did not get answered tonight, you can email us at rosenadmission@ucf.edu. We're happy to get you an answer to your question. And if it's for one of these faculty members, we'll get you in touch with them as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks again to our panelists for enlightening.
Applause for our panelists.
Done a great job. And this will close out our first virtual open house for the Rosen College. Just like everything else in the events and entertainment world, we had to pivot and offer a virtual session. So we're hoping that we have been able to provide some great information for you. I do want to encourage students and parents that are listening, please go out to the event website. We do have some pre-recorded sessions from our registered student organizations, from different support services on campus, as well as some industry testimonials. And I think you'll find some dynamic information there that we bring you right into through your computer screen or through your mobile device, so you can learn even more about Rosen College even after we say goodnight. So thanks so much, everybody.
Have a nice evening, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.